Good morning, folks. Hope we're all well. You're all very welcome to this morning's webinar. We're just going to give a couple of moments for people to join the webinar. So grab a cup of tea, cup of coffee, an orange juice, and we'll get started in a couple of moments. I'm Cathal Dibley. I'm joined here by my colleague Breen. Morning, Breen.
Morning, Cathal. Good morning, everybody.
How are you today, Breen?
I am good. All is well.
Good.
Looking forward to this session now.
Great. See, people are coming into the webinar. Now, you might just pop just to make sure everyone can hear me okay, you might just pop a good morning into the chat. Tell us what the weather is like, where you are located. It's currently grey and a little overcast in North Dublin. So just pop a good morning and tell us what the weather is like in the chat there, just so I know you can all hear me okay. It's sunny in London. It's wet in Limerick. It's raining in Germany. It's rainy in the south of France. Okay. And of course, it's lovely in Kilkenny. Morning, Jim. Sun is always shining in beautiful Kilkenny. Morning, Sharon. Morning, Akshita. Blue sky for Claire. Wet and grey in Donegal. So a mixed bag there, some sunshine and a little bit wet and a little bit grey. Just one more minute, we'll let people are coming in, and then we'll get started. Really appreciate everyone joining us this morning for the next approximately 40 minutes. Morning, Adrian. The rain has eased off. Such an Irish way to talk about the weather. The rain has eased off. It'll be back soon, Adrian, don't worry. It's eased off for now. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for that. I know you can hear me all okay. So look, we want this session to be as interactive as possible, right? So please feel free to pop your questions into the Q&A. We did have some questions in advance. Just to set the scene, we'll be together for the next 40 minutes. I'm going to take you through some of the reasons why organizations engage with Great Place to Work, some of the business benefits why. We're going to share that story through case studies, through a little bit of storytelling. Don't worry, you'll have the slides and you'll have the case studies after this session. So don't worry about that. We'll send them on to you. We'll send them on to you after. And following that, then I'll take you through the program. I'll take you through what's involved. I'll take you through the process. So you're really clear on what's involved in the Great Place to Work program. And on behalf of the team, we really appreciate your interest in the work that we do. Thanks, Akshita. We might have a look at the first slide there. So Akshita, my teammate, is helping me with the slides here. I'm still trying to get used to the soda stream. So thanks, Akshita, for your help. So just a couple of announcements. The Employer Branding Summit. This is something we've been doing every year for the last number of years. Got some details there. November the 20th is the date for the Employer Branding Summit. We have put together a really great lineup of speakers, of storytellers. You can see we've, Hilti, for example. I was with the leadership team yesterday. They're going to share all about their Aurora project, which is a world-class project around employee retention and talent attraction. And Workday are going to talk about how they tailor their talent value propositions for different sections of the market. And Marina has just popped into the chat there. We have Lego as well. So we've got a stellar lineup of speakers. What I will say is it's been sold out for the last few years. So if you're interested in joining us, make sure you register. We'd love to have you there on the day. And it's in the Windmill Quarter, beautiful building as well. So it'd be great if you could join us on the day there. Thank you. Thanks, Akshita. And yes, as I said, we're going to try and make it interactive. So we have 3 polls during the session. And as I said, pop your questions into the Q&A box and we'll be happy to take care of that. And just like magic, I think we're going to have our first poll of the session. Okay, So you might take part in this, would be great. Which aspect of the Great Place to Work program are you most interested in learning more about? And you have the options on the screen there. Which aspect of the Great Place to Work program are you most interested in learning more about? You can see the options there on the screen. So we'll leave it up there for a few more seconds. And as I said, we appreciate your interest in the work we do. Okay. I think we'll have the results coming up. So which aspect of the Great Place to Work program are you most interested in learning more about? Employer branding at 4%, certification process at 44%. Absolutely, we'll take you through the certification process and what's involved. Workplace culture at 28, tools and resources provided by the program, and of course talent and attraction and retention, which is on the minds of all of us as employers. How do we retain and attract the best talent? Thank you very much for that. Okay, we've got a really great study here that if you haven't downloaded, I'd really encourage you to download it and have a look. We did a workforce benchmark study. And about 25,000 employees throughout Europe took part in the study. Just all around their experience with work, their experience with leadership, how do they feel about hybrid working and the way of working, their thoughts around communication, employer branding, etc. So again, we popped it into the chat. We'd love you to have a look at that employee experience report. And just to say, Ireland scores slightly above average when it comes to Europe in terms of experience around work, with Denmark at the top and Italy at the bottom. But we love Italy. But there's a range there across countries. So I know there's some organizations on the call that have people working across Europe. So I think you'll find that study really interesting. So feel free to download that. Thank you, Akshita. And this is an actual finding within the study, right? So you'll see it just back one there, Akshita. Thank you. So you'll see it within the study itself. You'll see it. A question we asked people was, would knowing a workplace has been certified as a great place to work by its own employees make you more likely to want to work there? And the European average is 55%. It said yes, more likely to want to work there if I know they're certified. Within Ireland, 70% more likely, all right, to want to work in an organization that's certified as a great place to work. So a really great stat there, and I hope you enjoy the study. And just on this slide here, what we have is just a range of organizations that we work with. You can see the brands, you can see the logos, and you can see that it's across industry, it's across size. In terms of workplace, we believe anywhere where work is being done, you can build a great place to work. Anywhere where work is being done, you can build a great culture, and we have the support and we have the program to support you on that. So from 20 employees right up to the biggest project we're currently running is around 20,000 employees. Our program can help you build a great culture. And we'd love, of course, for your brand to join that list there. Thank you, Akshita. Okay, so why do organizations engage in the work that we do, right? So we did a bit of work around just trying to group organizations into why they're working with us. Now, it may be 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of these things that you're looking to do within your work culture, right? And that's absolutely fine. What we're looking at the screen here is we've taken an actual question from the Great Place to Work survey. And the question here is, I want to work here for a long time. And the Ireland average to that question be at 59%. And then for our best workplaces list, that number goes to 81% in terms of I want to work here for a long time. So you can see when I'm working in a great culture, when I'm working in a great place to work, I'm more inclined to stay with that organization. And then to the middle and to the right of the screen, and again, don't worry, you'll have these case studies. We've just popped in two infographics, two case studies of organizations that we work with. In the middle, we have Esri Ireland. Okay, they're a software and services organization. Okay, and from the first year when they started with the Great Place to Work program to now, they've improved some of their scores within the survey that we do by about 40 to 50%. So they're doing a great job in terms of building a great culture. Their employee retention rate now is at 95%. So as you build a great culture, your retention rate improves. And actually, a really interesting stat from Esri's journey is when they interview new candidates, they track for spontaneous mentions of Great Place to Work, as in when they're chatting to a new potential candidate, does that person mention Great Place to Work as a reason why they're here for the interview, or they're interested in working for Esri Ireland? Right? They don't ask the question; they just track for it to be spontaneously mentioned. And 9 in every 10 candidates mentions Great Place to Work. All right, so a really good stat there. And then on the right, you have ORS. Again, another organization, another client that we've been working with for a number of years. They're a building consultancy firm. And what's really important to their business is that they hold on to their people, because what's important is how they build long and lasting, sustained relationships with their clients. And of course, you want to hold on to your people, invest in them, right? Because what's important to the business is that they build those lasting relationships. So again, similarly to Esri, they've been doing great work on their organizational culture, making improvements, and they've improved their retention rate by over 20%. It's now at 85% in terms of their retention rate. And an interesting stat for their journey is that their direct hire rate is now at 98%. So as they build a great place to work, their recruitment costs have gone down dramatically because they're getting lots of referrals from their people. So that's been really, really good for them as well. Just on the next slide, please, actually. So the second area then is in why organizations engage is this idea of talent attraction. Of course, we all want to attract the best talent that's out there, and we know how competitive it is out there to attract talent, right? And the case study we've used here is an organization called Cluntech, organization based in Kilkenny. Cluntech were set up in, I think, 1996, and originally they were set up as a business just to support students in terms of getting back tax that they have overpaid. That was the start of the business. They've now developed a leading software company with customers worldwide. And they've really built a great culture each year from 2014, from when they started to now. And each year they work on improvements. At the start, they very much focused in on how do we improve communication using the data that we gave them back within their survey. So as they've improved their culture, their referral rate, as in people within their business referring potential new talent to their business, has quadrupled. All right, has quadrupled. They're getting comfortably 200 referrals per year as an organization from their existing people. And you can imagine how that's helping talent attraction and helping the business grow. That's a great company down in Kilkenny, Cluntech. Thank you, Akshita. High performing culture. Of course, we all want to build a high performing culture, right? A key ingredient of having a high performing culture is that you build the right environment, build a place where people want to work, right? Build a place where people feel a sense of belonging, where people go the extra mile. And we've used an organization here called Codex. Codex are business head office in Dublin. They have business right around Ireland, and they're a B2B office business solutions company. And post pandemic, Sorry, I mentioned pandemic, but there we go. 2020, right? They had some challenges in terms of a real shift in customer demands, as you could imagine, post pandemic. And also, they had a new leadership team. They knew they needed to invest in their culture if they wanted the business to grow. And in 2020, one of the questions we asked them in the survey was, "Do you believe that Codex is a great place to work?" 66% of people were in agreement with that question. And they're now at 83% of people in agreement with the question, Codex is a great place to work. And their turnover has increased by quite a lot, from 28 million to 33 million. So they're growing the business whilst they're improving the culture. Okay. And the stat that we have on the screen here is we've just taken a question from the survey. Employees are offered training and development to grow professionally. The average within Ireland is 59%, and best workplaces come in at 82%. Thank you, Akshita. And just on the next slide, the last reason, I guess, why organizations engage with what we do is this idea of building organizational development and leadership development. Okay, again, we've taken a question from the survey. I'm offered training and development to further myself professionally. I'm offered training and development to further myself professionally, right? And the average in Ireland is at 59% of people in agreement, and within the best workplaces, that number is 82%. And the case study that we're using for this area is Woodies. We all have a Woodies close by, I'm sure, a DIY retailer, a large employer, multiple stores, which means they've got multiple managers and leaders across each store. So a complex environment to build a great culture when you have so many leaders and managers. All right. The first year of the program with us, 16% of people, 16% was their overall trust and engagement. This is Woodies as an organization, 16%. And when we asked people the first year the question, I believe Woodies is a great place to work, 39% of people believed that Woodies was a great place to work. So they had a bit of work to do. They were really open for the feedback. Leaders were really up for the improvement piece. Over a number of years, they improved that trust number to 71% overall, their trust and engagement. And over a few years, when we asked that question, do you believe Woodies is a great place to work? 84% of people in agreement with that question. So think about it. The first year, 39% of people believing it's a great place to work. And after doing some great work around communication and leadership, and we partnered with them around those improvements, that 39% number went to 84% of people believing it's a great place to work. Operating profits improved again dramatically over that time, from 2.4 million to 22.7 million. It's not the only reason why operating profits improved, but you can see a quote there from the CEO at the time, Declan Runnan, talking about the correlation between building a great culture and their improved business performance. And thank you. I know we've been popping those case studies into the chat there, so you can have them to have a look at. Thank you, Akshita. Okay. I think it is time for another poll. It is. Do you believe your workplace has a great place to work culture? Do you believe your workplace has a great place to work culture? Yes, no. I will leave it up there for a few more seconds, and then we'll have a look at the results. And we're now moving into the stage where I'm going to take you through the program and the process and what's involved. Okay, I love this. Lots of confidence within the call. Do you believe your workplace has a great place to work culture? 85% of people believe they have a great culture. Okay, well, that's great. You've come to the right place, because we can help amplify that culture for you. So that's really great there. Okay, I think we're going to maybe get into the process itself and what's involved. And again, just a reminder, pop the questions in the Q&A chat. Any questions that you have, pop them into the Q&A chat. We're happy to go through them. Okay, so where do I begin? How do I start? Okay, so I know we've been talking to a number of companies that are on the call, and we'll follow up with every company after this, all right? But we'll take you through the program, the pricing, and what's involved. And once you sign up to the program, you'll have a dedicated project manager. We have a really experienced team here, over 20 years plus, helping organizations build a great culture. So that project manager will build out a project plan and book in the survey date. All right. And kickstart is at the center of Great Place to Work, and what we do is our Great Place to Work survey, our trust index survey, right? So we'll help you get ready for that survey. We'll help you make sure we're driving a good response rate, how you position the survey to get a good response rate. So that's a key date in the diary, is that survey date. Typically, we leave the survey open for 2 weeks. And then a couple of weeks after that, we're ready to present the results back into the leadership team and share the reports and the data. All right. And that's a critical moment where we'll come back in to the leadership team, share the results, talk about what you're doing well, and of course, talk about the areas that could be improved and worked on. As I've showed in the case studies, organizations use our survey then each year as their annual metric around culture. And at that stage, we can tell you whether you're recognized as a great place to work or not. So let's think about that process again. Sign up to the program. You'll have a project manager take you through the plan. We'll run the survey for you. We'll keep it open for 2 weeks. We're ready to go with the results, and then we can tell you whether you're recognized as a great place to work. And remember, working on the data goes alongside the idea of being recognized as well. So what's the recognition then? We'll have a look at the next slide, please, Akshita. Okay, so the first recognition then is you can be certified as a great place to work. Okay, and to be certified as a great place to work, when we average out the questions and how you score on those questions, if you get 65% or higher, you're certified as a great place to work. Okay, and I know there's lots of confidence on the call here to say you work in a great place to work. So 65% or higher on the survey, and you can be certified as a great place to work. And we have a brilliant team here that's ready to support you around how you celebrate that logo, how you activate that achievement, how you get that signal out to the talent market that you are a great place to work. So 65% higher, you're certified as a great place to work, and that certification is valid for 1 year. Thank you, Akshita. And the survey itself, I know this came up a couple of times on questions we received in advance, right? So what questions does the survey cover, right? And our survey covers 17 key categories. Okay, so you can see the categories on the screen there. 17 key categories, and then the questions fall underneath those categories, right? So you can see everything from communication and involvement to how do people feel about recognition, to what's teamwork like, all right? And like every organization we work with, you're going to have areas that you score well in, and you're going to have areas that you need to improve in. But don't worry, we'll support you around that improvement piece. So 17 key categories that the survey covers. Thank you, Akshita. Sorry, we have a poll there. Yes, sorry, we have a poll there. So you can see the question there. So we'll give it a couple of seconds to answer that question. So the survey underpins everything we do at Great Place to Work. Do you currently have an employee engagement survey? Yes, 58%, and no, 42%. So a split group there in terms of do you have your current employee engagement survey? Okay. And lots of organizations we work with run their own survey as well as the Great Place to Work survey. Laura, I see your question in the chat there, so probably now is a good time for me to address it. You were asking, you have your own Pulse survey, and you were wondering, is our survey separate? And yes, we have a separate survey. If you want the Great Place to Work recognition and our advice, then you have to use the Great Place to Work survey. We also run Pulse surveys as well, but also you can customize the survey that we have. So if anyone wants to bring in some questions that they ask within their own engagement survey that we don't cover, you can certainly bring in those. You can certainly bring in those questions to our survey as well, right? So lots of organizations have done that. They've customized our survey, but 17 categories, we pretty much cover everything you need to know around culture. Okay, and then obviously if you're certified, no problem, Laura, you're very welcome. And obviously if you're certified as a great place to work, then it's a great opportunity to build pride internally. Right, so I've just got a slide here that has some visuals around some organizations that use the logo, use the brand internally to build that sense of pride, to build that sense of ownership. And Great Place to Work is different from, just running an engagement survey because it's a strategy. We're saying we want to build a great place to work. We're involving people, and then we're celebrating with people when we achieve that. All right. So we've got some good visuals there of organizations and how they celebrate that internally. And remember, it's driving good retention rates within those organizations. Thank you, Akshita. So that's the internal celebration, if you like, of being a great place to work, and how you activate that and how you build pride. And just on the next slide, then we have the external activation. Okay, so we all give signals to the marketplace in terms of what we are like as an employer, right? And a really strong signal to give to the talent market is that you are a great place to work. Okay, a really strong signal to give to the talent market. And you'll see within the case studies how it's helped that talent attraction piece. All right, so on the visuals here, you're just looking at how organizations have activated the logo externally. All right, how organizations have used the achievement externally to the talent market. And remember, being a great place to work is based on the lived experience of employees through the survey. So the talent market know that it's based on substance. It's based on the reality. All right. So you've got some visuals there that show how organizations have used the logo externally to attract talent. Okay. So I think we'll move to the Q&A section, if that's all right with everyone. So sorry, we've got a couple more slides here. Sorry, I was moving too fast. So, okay, so think of those 17 categories that the survey covers, all right? And we just have a visual here that shows those category areas. Okay, so think of communication and involvement. We have questions that we ask your people around that. You can see how your score would be on that compared to a certified benchmark and then your industry benchmark, all right? And I know we got questions in advance around benchmarking. We have endless benchmarks across all industries. Okay, and our benchmark is updated annually. All right, so it's an annualized benchmark, so it's up to date. All right, so you can just see there some of the categories we cover there: communication, involvement, strategy, and direction. Think of your score, right? How you benchmark, and compare it to the industry benchmark as well. All right, and like every organization, you'll score higher on some and lower on others. Thank you, Akshita. Okay, and listen, we're going to have a look at some questions, and hopefully we'll have some answers for you, right? But look, it's one simple survey. The survey underpins everything we do. The survey unlocks the recognition opportunities, and the survey obviously gives us back the data that we can feed back into you and help you improve your work culture. So we're going to have a look at some of the questions. Laura, thank you for that question on the Pulse survey in advance. Just a reminder, pop your questions in the Q&A, and we will go through them. Breen, I might bring you in on some of the questions here, if that's okay.
Absolutely, that's great. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for all of that.
No problem. So let me see here. Okay, one question was, we currently have our own engagement survey. Can they use that to get Great Place to Work recognition? I know I kind of covered it, but maybe if you just want to speak into that one, Brian.
Sure. Thanks, Carl. Yeah, very, a question that we're often asked because as we saw in the poll there, pretty much half of organizations have their own survey. So the piece is to be recognized by Great Place to Work, we need to use the Trust Index survey because that's the methodology that is utilized for recognition and also accesses the benchmarks because we have standardized statements that allows us to use the benchmarks and share back the valuable information to organizations. So just really need to use you have to use the Trust Index survey for recognition and for access to benchmarks and feedback.
Thank you, Brian. Samantha, thanks for your question in advance. Samantha, if I'm reading right, you work in a global organization, 40 employees in Ireland, and then the rest of the people are across other countries. Can you work with us? Absolutely is the answer. We'll be able to survey all your employees across each country, and we can work with you around recognition within each country as well. Yeah, some of our global organizations get real value from being able to compare how each country is scoring on the different questions. So Samantha, yes, we can work with you, and we're currently working with a global organization of 20,000 employees. So the team are very well positioned to be able to support you on that. Thank you, Samantha. I'll just take this question, Brian, and then I'll throw the next one to you. Lucas asked, can this be applied to sporting organizations? The answer is yes, Lucas. We work with sporting organizations. When you have a look at the case study, you'll be able to see the work we've done with the IRFU. So sporting organizations, like any organization, is where work is done. And anywhere where work is done, we believe we can build a great place to work. So have a look at the IRFU case study, Lucas. I think you'll find that interesting. Breen, we have trouble getting a good response rate. Can you help us, or how can we help them?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a challenge for a lot of organizations. So what's really important here, I think, is pre-survey communication. So letting people know that the survey, first and foremost, is fully confidential and anonymous. So their responses are treated in that way. And how that works is that the survey is launched from Great Place to Work directly to the colleagues, and the responses come back to us. We only share them back with the organization then on a level where confidentiality is maintained. So really valuable to explain that to the audience and to the colleagues and to the respondents. And then I suppose letting them know the intention of the organization as well in terms of what's going to happen with the results. So letting them know that they're going to hear feedback, then they'll have the opportunity to collaborate in any change or any action plan that is being rolled out. And that really, I suppose, affirms for people that, look, if they take the time to fill in the survey, then they will understand and learn what's going to happen with results and be involved in the process. That's going to drive the response rate. While the survey is live, we also have technology there that contacts within the organization, so the leadership team can see what the response rate looks like and put a special push into a team if they're not responding as well as the rest of the organization. So we're well equipped and tooled up to support that piece.
Thank you, Brian. Mary has asked, thank you, Mary. In the case studies provided, did the Great Place to Work survey supersede in-house surveys? And the answer, Mary, is it's a mix. All right, some had their own survey before they migrated to ours, and their survey wasn't giving them what they needed from a data point of view, and some their first time surveying was with ourselves. So the answer is a mix, Mary. So I hope that answers your question. Sharon, you've asked, we operate across Europe and often can't find that survey questions can be Ireland centric for some questions. Is there a way, I think, of tailoring questions across country? The answer is yes, Sharon. We can include questions that are more relevant within certain countries than other countries, or set of questions that we need to ask, and then we can customize if needed. And I know you're looking for some examples, Sharon, so we'll connect with you after, and we're happy to take you through what questions you could ask. It's all based around what you're trying to do from a culture point of view. So thank you, Sharon. Laura, how long does the certification process last? You mentioned the survey is open for 2 weeks, and let's assume the pass mark is achieved. What's the timeline? So, Brian, do you want to take that? How long does the certification process last?
So the certification process takes between, roughly 6 to 8 weeks, depends on the size of the organization. So if we have 2 week run into survey going live, or if it's a larger organization, a bit longer for messaging, survey window open 2 weeks. In the client success call in the beginning, we'd be looking to book in a time for feedback session with the leadership team. So we could look to turn that around certainly in 8 weeks. The certification logo itself is validated for 12 months. So just in terms of certification lasting, that's validated for the 12 months from any time that you're certified. But we can work to a timeline that suits the organization.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. We have 5 more minutes, so thank you for all the questions that are coming in. If we were previously awarded the Great Place to Work, do we need to apply, register every year? We work with organisations on a 3-year contract. So yes, I mean, you have to do the survey each year to be recognised as a great place to work, Anya. But we'll follow up with you, and get a sense as to what stage you are in terms of your contract, and we'll chat to you then. Yvonne, if the survey doesn't meet the 65% requirement, what does Great Place to Work do to get us to the standards required? Or is it just down to the company to make a plan? Yvonne, we'll work with you. So once we have the data in, we're going to come in and meet yourself and the leadership team. We're going to talk you through the results, but we're going to help build an action plan based on what your resources and what your needs are. We'll be able to tell you what areas to prioritize to improve, Yvonne. And as I said, we have over 20 years experience, right? So we're very much set up and ready to support you around building an action plan around improvement. Let's see what comes out of the data, and then we'll be able to help you, Yvonne. Thank you for that question. And I think that, Marley, your question again, if what happens if we don't achieve the score, I think that response will probably answer your question there, right? So no matter what score you hit, we're going to be helping you improve your culture, make those improvements, and build out your action plan. Remember, lots of our clients are recognized as a great place to work, but they're also using the data to work on their culture each year. So it's those two strands. So I hope that answers your question, Marley. Mary, what is the resource commitments to implement Great Place to Work in the first year, leadership team's time and financial cost? Mary will work with you around your financial cost. It's based on employee numbers. So we'll follow up with you directly around that in terms of pricing. You'll need somebody to kind of be our contact area from the organization. So project manager or somebody in HR will work with you. The resource requirements aren't huge because we're running the survey, okay? We're producing the data. We're feeding back the results. So it's not a huge requirement from a resource point of view. But again, we'll chat with you directly, Mary, and take you through what's involved there. Okay, still lots of questions coming in. We're a translation company serving public sector in Ireland. We have about 50 employees and under 1,000 freelancers. We would like to attract more freelancers. Do you feel Great Place to Work will help us to achieve this goal? The answer is yes, Anna, but of course I would say that. So have a look at the case studies, see how organizations are doing in terms of improving talent attraction. Okay, have a look at the stats. They'll help build a business case, and we can support you around that, Anna. Okay, how many employees do have to complete the survey? 65% is related to the score, but what percentage do we have to achieve for the participation? The answer to that, Georgia, is we're looking for a confidence level of 95%. So it's based on how many employees you have is the response rate that we're looking to achieve. But we hit about 70 to 75% on an average response rate with that we run. Okay. And again, the team are very experienced around supporting you to hit that good response rate. Sorry, I'm just scrolling down. See there. So it's a 95% confidence level, Georgia. Yeah, it depends on your overall employee numbers, but we'll work with you on that so you can see it. And I think we have a question in the Q&A chat, so I'm moving into the Q&A. Brendan, we have 24 employees approx. What would the cost be for the process? Brian, do you want to take that? We'll follow up with Brendan directly.
Sure. Yeah, Brendan, I'll follow up with you directly. And that really depends on the level of engagement that you want. Of course, the standard, it's a 3-year engagement for everybody. Engaging with us, that's what supports and suits our clients the best. But I'll pick up that conversation with you directly. Thank you.
And sorry, yeah, I had that. So that was the question there from Lucas. Thank you very much for that. Okay, folks, we're at time. Let's just do a quick 1-minute recap. Okay, we took you through the business benefits involved in being a great place to work. You have some case studies with lots of stats and data that will help create the business case for you. We're going to follow up with you individually, see what your need is, and to see how we can support you. All right. And then we took you through the process and what's involved. Remember, it's one survey, and that opens the multiple recognition, and also we can help you build a great culture. Thank you very much, folks, for joining us. We're going to follow up with you. Thank you to the Great Place to Work team. Good to see you, Breen, Marina, Akshita. Okay, thank you to all.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. I hope you have a great day and the weather improves a little.
Excellent. Thanks a million, Carl. All the best.